came to Lebanon in 2014, because, the war broke out there in Syria. So I had to come here just to survive. I came here, but not alone, also with my old traditions and strict limitations for the girls because of their gender. I was prevented to go outside, even to make my own decision. If I was there at the age of 14, I believe I would have 2 kids. Everything was decided for my life as a girl, because I'm a girl.
Hello, Greaterverse listeners, and welcome to another episode of the Greaterverse. For those of you who haven't joined us before, I'm Anne-Marie Kruk, and this podcast is where we talk about incredible people doing incredible things to make the world we live in a better place. Think of it as an antidote to all of the bad news that we get in our news feed every day. And I could not be more excited today to be joined on the Greaterverse by Afraa, who you heard a bit from earlier, and Meike, who are joining us all the way from the Alsama school in the Shatila refugee camp in Lebanon. Afraa is a student at the Shatila Alsama school, and Meike is one of the founders of the Alsama Project who run the school. First, to give some context, Shatila refugee camp in Lebanon houses somewhere between 30 to 40,000 refugees on only 1 square kilometre of land, and it has been in Lebanon for 70 years. You may think of refugee camps as made up of thousands of tents, but Shatila is more like a city. It is densely populated and poor, with graffiti everywhere and dangerously exposed electrical wires. It is a place where children as young as 4 can be seen picking plastic off the street to sell, where almost 50% of Syrian refugee girls are married before the age of 18, and where 60% of Syrian refugee children never go to school. But the Alsama Project is changing that, 1 Syrian refugee child at a time. Through structured learning, a cricket academy, art and music, these Syrian refugee children are going from illiterate to university ready in just over 5 years. This episode is about hope, courage, and determination in the face of the most challenging of circumstances.
Hello, thank you for having us on the podcast.
An absolute pleasure. So, in preparation for the podcast, I was doing some reading, and I cannot believe some of the numbers that come out, that there are 43 million displaced children globally, and of those, only, I think it was 37% have access to education. That absolutely blew me away. So first, a complete shout out to the incredible work that you're doing, because it's obviously there is a huge need for what you're doing. And Meike, I would love to hear more about the origin story, because from what I understand, it started in 2020, so already a very difficult time in the world. For those of you who don't remember, we had the COVID pandemic. And on top of that, you were starting this organization. So yeah, would love to hear more from you about how Alsama started in the first place.
Yes, first of all, it's a pleasure to be on this podcast, and it's a pleasure to be representing Alsama alongside one of our amazing students, Afraa. So how did Alsama come about? Maybe we should even go back a bit further than 2020, 2018. In autumn 2018, my husband and I took a sabbatical. At that point, we were living in Britain. I used to run a publishing house, or was running a publishing house in Britain. My husband, a management consultant. We took a sabbatical because we felt our life was lacking social impact. And we decided to volunteer for a local NGO here in Lebanon, partly because I speak Arabic. And during that year, I met an extraordinary woman, a Syrian refugee living in the Shatila refugee camp called Kadria Hussein. And Kadria wanted to give back to her community. So she approached me and basically said that we should set up something very small for about 40 teenage girls. And that's exactly what we did. And this was in January 2020. They were all 12, 13-year-olds who were illiterate, Some of them already engaged to get married. And initially we gave them 3 hours a week. That was it. Yoga, because we love yoga. And I gave them a bit of creative thinking. And then something happened which neither Katria nor I were expecting, or anyone really expecting, which was the girls suddenly, who at the beginning couldn't look us in the eyes when we asked them, what are your aspirations? What are your dreams? Nothing really. You know, we get married, we have lots of children. And then within 2 months, that was literally during the first pandemic, they suddenly lifted their heads and looked us straight into the eye and said, okay, if you really want to help us, then give us proper education. We're now 13, 14. We're illiterate. Our parents are illiterate. No school is taking us. So do something.
I like that. I like that they were so direct. I have a lot of respect for that.
Yes, and I mean, this is really, I always say, you know, officially we have 4 co-founders, myself and Katria, Mohammed Khair, another Syrian, and Richard Verity, my husband. But I always say, actually, we have 5. And the 5th one is the most important, which are our students. Without them, if those initial girls hadn't pushed us, and some of them are now with Afraa in our top class, and Afraa is going to talk about that more, but they are our first cohort that is going to graduate from Alsama next summer in order to go to university. So they were within 5.5 years, they are now able to compete on international level with university entry students who have studied for 12 or 13 years. So Alsama, so this was Alsama's origin stories. And now we run 4 informal schools and 2 refugee camps here in Lebanon, in Beirut. We've also opened our first center in Syria. So all together, we now have 1,100 students. We have developed a curriculum that allows these students. They're illiterate. They come to us as illiterate teenagers, and with this 6 years, they make up their lost 12 years of education. And we have also developed an international exam called the G12++, which is for refugees internationally, that allows students like ours to show their university entry capabilities. And in order to create this exam, we have collaborating with Leicester University and Cambridge in the UK, Monrovia, Arizona in the US, and MUBS here in Lebanon.
I can't believe how much you've achieved with the students in such a short period of time. That's absolutely incredible. I'd love to hear a little bit more about how you became part of Alsama, how you were introduced to Alsama, a little bit of your personal journey.
Yeah. So actually, I recollected, like, I came to Lebanon in 2014, because, you know, the war broke out there in Syria. So I had to come here just to survive. I came here, but not alone, also with my old traditions and strict limitations for the girls because of their gender. I was prevented to go outside, even to make my own decision. It was through the soul inside me, but everything was decided for my life as a girl because I'm a girl. Then by chance, I've heard of Al-Sama. And I said, inside, when every limitation and every no I hear from my family, there's something inside me that tell me I have to do something, I have to act. Then when I joined, I was this type of girl that's shy. Even if I had a question for my teacher, I would not raise my hand and ask, especially if they're male. And then we start with Miss Meike, the creative writing, expanding our thinking, widening it, think about all factors around the world. Take this article, read this, watch that movie. And then Afraa, the shy girl, became the confident girl. I became, now I'm speaking with you in English. I wasn't able to do that. I was completely illiterate. I became a spokesperson for the organization. I became a tour guide for visitors, new hires that's here at Alsama. So yeah, I just get outside that shell. I didn't like what I was doing, so I had to do something. because I had the passion, I had that fire inside to make a change. I came to Alsama. There, I got all the support. I get appreciated. If I, in the past, I would tell my parents, I have this idea. Maybe they'll laugh on me. They'll bullying me. Nobody there to appreciate me. But here, I found that. Yeah. And actually, one of the thing here that I'm so proud of, that I just became this person that have this communication skills with others.
I have so much respect for you. And can I just say, your English is absolutely flawless, absolutely flawless. And when you say to me that you joined Alsama and you were illiterate, it's just so hard to imagine. And you've obviously had to work really hard to get where you are.
True, I am Afraa, and there are another thousands of Afraas here at Alsama.
I love that, and you're holding the flame for them. So I think that's fantastic. And so I'd love to ask you a little bit more about how the students have influenced the decisions that you've made, even in terms of the content you do and how you've structured the program and how Alsama has developed.
I wonder if Afraa is the one who should start answering them.
Actually, here at Alsama, what's let's say what I love the most is the collaboration atmosphere, where students and also teachers all grow together. Everybody that enters Alsama will grow, no matter what will happen. So this thing that every time we witness something, we go, "Hey Alsama, we have this for you," and then they reply. One of the things that they've done for us is editing the curriculum of Alsama. So we've contributed to that. So it's, let's say, the communication skills, the willing to listen to us students, not as the traditional way of schooling, where students, if you'd like to give you let's say a feedback, maybe they won't accept it, but everybody listening to each other, even there's no hierarchy, everybody is the same.
And it is unusual, right? Because I think in general in education, maybe there isn't so much of that, and it is so important because you're the one at the end of the day that it's actually doing the education. So it's important that it's right for you. What have been some of the biggest challenges that you have both faced?
Maybe I start with the positive. I have to say the last 6 years have been the most creatively fascinating, interesting years of my life. And I write novels, I run a publishing house, so I've always operated within the creative sector. But the creative energy I have found with my colleagues here, with the students here, is phenomenal. And that is what keeps me going every single day. I mean, the biggest challenge I always quote, of course, the war in Lebanon. So when the bomb started dropping on Beirut, Afraa was already referring to it, a lot of our students were forced to flee back into Syria, where were not safer there necessarily. And that was the moment where Katria and I really thought Alsama has died. That was a horrible, horrible moment. Because what are we doing without students? There's no raison d'etre for Alsama to be if all the students have gone. What was amazing was that literally as the students were fleeing, and Afraa was one of them, they called us up on the phone and said, please, whatever you do not close. We'll come back. And we want to be educated. And that's exactly what kept us going. So Alsama was in last October, the only organization, the only education organization in Lebanon, in Beirut especially, that kept on going. And then they started coming back. And that was, I think, one of the best moments. We are an organization that operates in the Middle East. We're set up to operate in difficult countries and volatile situations. What were we? We were lucky that we could operate the first 4 years without a war. But it's now the reality. And so this is really the challenge for us to figure out how to get through that, because, of course, it's during times of war that education is even more important. All schools in Syria, for example, closed down, many to never reopen again. And how are we supposed to solve our conflict-loving human nature? Not through education. And so for Alsama, again, every challenge is actually helps us to develop further. And again, this is what I think we find all so energizing, so creative. So yeah, there hasn't been yet a challenge that has stopped Alsama in its track.
And Afra, I would love to ask you, like Micah said, what have been the biggest joys for you, but also the biggest challenges?
Yeah, actually, I'd say the same as what Miss Micah mentioned. When I flew back to Syria, I built some expectations what my village would be. But when I went there, everything was the opposite. Here, I used to the environment of asking, getting the answer, the environment of there is no issue, there is no limitation of your thing. But when I went there was limitations. Even you get people would deal with you treat you really badly if you have this strange idea or a developed idea, because there they called me the Lebanese girl because I had completely different thinking because of them. But did I stop? Because there also they put some strict rules. If you want to go outside the house, you need to wear an abaya. And then would I stay these 2 months in our house? I'll isolate myself? Absolutely not. I wear the abaya. I went outside. I talked with my cousin. She's only 17 and she wanted to get married there. And I sat a whole 2 hours with her, convincing her, trying to get her from all the thing I've learned here at Al Sama, all the parts to prevent her. And then she said me, no, what a strange thought you have. Don't tell anybody about what you're thinking because they'll be against you. So there I realized, wow, here we need a lot of Alsamas there. Everybody change. What are the thoughts they have there? And the biggest win I have there when I was there, I had no hope that I'll come back to Alsama. But then after the truce, I came back to Alsama and I came back with a new let's say a new thought here in my head, which is because in the past I wanted to do becoming a doctor, but now I wanted to do international development. So yeah, now I have a vision. I have something to change in the world. Because if I go back 14, let's go back, I didn't get to here to Lebanon. I was there in my village there where there's ignorance. My city there, it was underdeveloped, not only in a local base, hospitals, schools, but also in thinking. If I was there at the age of 14, I believe I would have 2 kids. So now I'm here getting education. I have a vision to change. So I think this is the shift of mindset is the biggest achievement.
And mindset is everything, right? I think all of the self-help books and all of the people who go out there and talk about things, they always talk about mindset. And so interesting that with education that has been transformed for you. Afra, what have been your favorite topics that you have learned as you've gone through the education?
There are many things, but specifically that every time we hear of political things, stuff happening in my own country, Syria, or around the world, they come up with that topic and let's discuss and debate about it. There is no yes and no answer. Just say what you think. So this is opportunity to be free in your thinking is the best thing I feel that affected me.
So your ability to talk about big world problems, to have an open discussion, open debate. And I think that's fantastic because I think in the world that we live in today, often that's not the case, right? There's a lot of division, there's a lot of polarization. So the ability to be able to have frank and open discussions is really important.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. When we set out from the beginning, we always said to our students, we give you some tools. And with these tools, you can make your life and the life of the ones around you better straight away. If you get out of a refugee camp, we don't know. We can't, that's beyond our control. But what we can do is give you tools. And then you need to use them. We show them how you use them, but you need to apply them. And this idea of, yes, it's not just in order to improve yourself, but improve your community. I think that thought was there from the beginning. And again, how we build our curriculum. So we don't have books. We basically, you can sometimes, it's like a Frankenstein. We took ideas from all sorts of, ideas, and also, of course, levels, benchmarkings from all different curricula around the world. But the most important thing is that literally every lesson that our students are taught, they are being given something with which they can make their lives better right now, not, tomorrow. So again, that is the way we built it. And what is so lovely for me and so exciting to hear is actually, so of course, I see Afraa, I have a class with them every once a week, but actually listening to her expressing what she's just expressed makes me feel, my heart feels so warm, because I feel like our curriculum is working.
I get your updates, your newsletters and your yearly books, and I love the different themes that you have every year. I think one year it was stories from the refugee camps and actually learning a bit more about the conditions and the challenges that exist in the refugee camps themselves, from it being a safe environment and all of the things that you were talking about, having that security and that safety, but also some of the programs that you have around art and cricket. And I would love to hear more about those.
Yeah, actually, here, because we have this variety of activities, chess, yoga, even awareness, we have a subject that called professionalism, which there we take all hard skills, soft skills, how to be let's say a good employee in the future. So by taking this in the afternoon, we are applying these skills we are taking in the class. I am a tour guide. I learned how to communicate with the people. My friends are cricket coaches. They learned how to be a great team and have this teamwork spirit. Others awareness, how to widen their thinking. Every student have a way to express their feelings, or let's say traumas they passed through. Some of them art, some of them music. So yeah, opportunity for everybody to learn.
So maybe I should add. So cricket is is one of the secrets of our success. One is, I mentioned earlier, that every lesson is built around a tangible goal.
Yeah.
Not some abstract thing, but a tangible goal. And the other one, the secret of our success, is cricket. So we teach 44 weeks a year in our schools, because our students have lost too much of their time already. 5 days a week. On Saturday and Sunday, all our students that join us new for the first 2 years have to play cricket. So they play 3 hours cricket on Saturday, 3 hours cricket on Sunday. And of course, everyone says, why cricket? And there is, of course, why cricket is because my husband is obsessed with cricket. But actually, he was just the instigator. What we've discovered is that cricket, first of all, of course, boys and girls can play together because it's a non-contact sport. Even if you look at international cricket players, they come in all sizes and shapes. So, there is a lot of variety of talent that is required in a cricket team. And then also cricket is highly strategic. So it really helps with classroom behavior. We now, whenever we open up a new center, we basically open the cricket up first, just for a month, because it means by the time then the students come into the classroom, and these are, of course, 13, 14-year-olds who have never been to school. The boys have been working, collecting plastic on the street since the age of 4. So, and suddenly they have to sit in classrooms. And our classrooms are small in terms of people, but in terms of size as well, because we don't have purpose-built school buildings. because we operate within the refugee camp. So we just rent whatever is available. And I also always say, frankly, buildings don't matter. We can teach under a tree. But it means, suddenly you're a 13-year-old boy who hasn't really had much in terms of routine, in terms of discipline, and you're asked to sit still for 3 hours initially. How are you going to do that? Well, cricket. Cricket teaches you that. It is literally, they sit in the classroom and they are ready to catch the ball. So that's one of our successes.
And Afraa, you mentioned earlier that you're a tour guide. Tell me a little bit more about that. How did that come about, and what's involved in your tour guiding responsibilities?
Yeah, actually, I do a lot of things actually. When we hire, like when Miss Mike or Miss Kadir, they hire new people, like we need to organize a schedule of the interview times. When we have a visitors, we have a 1 hour tour guide, because here we have in Shatila, I think 2 schools. So we do in both schools tour guiding. What else? Also, we get the new hires and get them to show them where to get food, where they can transfer money. So all this stuff give me organization skills, because I know I need to talk about this, then talk about this, then this, so I can build on the knowledge. And also because I did it with different people from different walks of life. I got also the experience of adaptability, flexibility.
It sounds like you've built out an amazing portfolio of skills, right? You're doing lots of different things, which I think is amazing and makes you a more rounded person, right? But also you can teach others, and I think that's really clear that you're an amazing role model for other students. As we've discussed, you've already achieved so much in the 5 years that Alsama has been around. 1,100, I think you said, in terms of students right now, which is unreal. But as we talked about at the beginning, there's a huge need and a huge demand. So what is the maybe the 5-year vision, and what is the ultimate vision?
Thank you for asking that. So yes, of course, we realize, and as Afraa was saying, there are already 1,000 Afraas at Alsama, and there are tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of Afraas out there. And we developed our curriculum, we developed our teacher training, we developed the G12++, and we now know it works, and our students know it works, and we would love other students, out of school teenagers, to benefit from that. And so for the next 5 years, we hopefully will open up, let's say, 3-4 schools in Syria, informal schools for illiterate teenagers. And again, I just want to reiterate that it's the illiterate teenagers that so often fall through the crack, because it is very hard to address that issue. And we also want to open up a couple of more informal schools here in Lebanon. Because, for example, last year during the war here in Lebanon, what we realized is that there are a lot of Lebanese students, teenagers, also out of school. And we would, again, love to help to address that problem here. By 2030, hopefully, we'll be running successfully 10 schools. And then we really would love to go globally, globally in the Middle East. So we'd love to go into Iraq, into Yemen, wherever there are, needs, basically.
And in terms of where you want to go in your future, Afraa, what is your vision? And I'm sure it's amazing. What is the vision for your future?
Actually, we came from Syria to Lebanon because of the war. And then in the recent war here in Lebanon, we went back to Syria. After 12 years, I was far from my city. And as I mentioned, I witnessed that what a city I have. It doesn't include natural resources, oil, cotton, all this stuff, but it remains underdeveloped. Why is this happening? Why people are poor, although they have all this stuff? I start to read articles, listen to a podcast or watch a TED Talk. And then I was inspired to do something in the future that will help me to solve these conflicts. And then I decided to study international development.
Is it about going back to Syria at some point to help solve the problems there on the ground, or is it broader, more global?
Actually, I'd like to be in a humanitarian organization that would be like transforming from country to country. So not only Syria, but also like maybe in Africa, because there they also like have the same problem. Let's say in Africa, they suffer from the dirty water. If I'm coming to give them, let's say, 20 machines that would purify water for them, is this like an output or an outcome? Direct, or I'm thinking of the long-term effect I'm doing, because maybe after 3 years these machines will stop. So is this a success? Not really. We need like a long-term effect. As here, I'd say I'm not only praising Alsama, but actually here as a student, is it only getting 1,000 students at school, or getting them that will graduate and have job in the future?
It's complete systems thinking, and that is just amazing, especially given you are so youthful, you're so mature in terms of the way that you look at the world. I think that is one of the big problems that we face, is that people are often solving problems at the end of the chain, but not looking at how these things can be done in a sustainable way. Now, you are finishing your exams soon, Afra. Have you got an idea of where in the world you would like to go to do the next phase of your study?
Yeah, sure. Actually, also we're like taking mentoring sessions where we go and search for the universities, the applications, deadlines, and everything. So as for now, like my goal is to study at Cambridge University.
That is so exciting, and I have my fingers and toes crossed for you, although I don't think you need it based on our conversation. I think so many good things are ahead of you, and we are very, very lucky to have someone like you in the world. Afra, what would be your hope for, new students joining the school, or even, students around the world?
Actually, like some students would have faced the same challenges as mine, and I think they're thinking about making a change in the world. But I'm getting like for the students in the globe, like they have the chance like to go to school, but until now maybe they still like not having the quite mindset on how to make a change. Maybe they're thinking only to have a job and get money, but this is not the case in life. Absolutely, there's something in your community, even if it was like perfect, there's something that still maybe annoy you, you don't like, that you'd like to change. So I tell them, please witness what's happening in your community, think widely, read articles, listen to podcasts, get more knowledge, because as we're learning, there is no limits. So keep learning about this stuff.
So I'm excited to see what comes next for you, and Micah as well. Thank you so much for coming on. We will keep following this story because I really want to see what happens next for Afra as well. So we might have to get you back on the show when you've finished your exams and you're in the next stage of your life. But thank you again.
Thank you so much for having us on your podcast.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me, Anne-Marie Kruk, on another episode of The Greaterverse. We will share details of the Alsama website and how you can get involved either through volunteering or donating. With the podcast, please like, share, subscribe, and share your comments. If you know anyone that you think should be featured in the podcast, please add in the comments section or send us a message. I cannot wait to share with you more stories of incredible people doing incredible things to make this universe a greater place. Greaterverse, over and out.